friends, welcome to the point. In today's session, we'll be discussing about food, civil supplies, and consumer affairs. So we are aware that this topic is selected from India Yearbook. So the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, it is a ministry with two departments. That is the Department of Food and Public Distribution. The first department is the Department of Food and Public Distribution, and the second department is Department of Consumer Affairs. So the Department of Consumer Affairs, that is the DCA, it has been entrusted with the following works like Internal Trade, the Essential Commodities Act 1955, and so on. Prevention of Black Marketing and Maintenance of Supply of Essential Commodities Act 1980, Regulation of Packaged Commodities, Training in Legal Metrology, Consumer Cooperatives, and all these things. So the Department of Food and Public Distribution in the ministry. So this department, it is responsible for the management of food economy of the nation. So it undertakes various activities like procurement of food items, storage, movement, and delivery to the distributing agencies. The primary policy objective of the department is to ensure food security. It is to ensure the food security for the country through the timely and efficient procurement and distribution of food grains. So talking about the consumer affairs, that the mandate of the Department of Consumer Affairs is consumer advocacy. So India was a pioneer in consumer advocacy with the Consumer Protection Act, that is a path-breaking legislation at a time that is enacted in the year 1986, and the establishment of a separate government department that is dedicated to consumer affairs as early as in the year 1997. So the main role of this consumer affairs is they advise and educate the consumers, tenants, businesses, and the landlords on their rights, responsibilities, and changes to the law. They register and license businesses and occupation. So they conciliate disputes between the consumers and the traders and the tenants as well as landlords. They enforce and ensure compliance with consumer laws. Consumer awareness. So what is consumer awareness? So consumer awareness, it is an act of making sure the buyer or consumer is aware of the information about the products, goods, services, and consumer rights. So consumer awareness, it is important so that a buyer can take the right action and make the right choice. So that is why consumer awareness is very important. So the Department of Consumer Affairs, it has been conducting a country-wide multimedia awareness campaign from 2005 on various issues that is related to consumer rights and responsibilities across diverse subjects. Jago Grahak Jago, it has today become a household axiom. So the consumer awareness campaign, it is implemented through the Directorate of Audio and Visual Publicity and Doordarshan Network and the All India Radio of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Consumer Welfare Fund. So what is Consumer Welfare Fund? So Consumer Welfare Fund, so this was being set up under section 57 of the CGST Act 2017. So earlier the Central Excise and Salt Act 1944, it was amended in the year 1991 to enable the central government to create a consumer welfare fund where the money which is not refundable to the manufacturers is being credited to them. So as I said, the Central Excise and Salt Act 1944, it was amended in the year 1991 to enable the central government to create a consumer welfare fund into which unclaimed central excise revenues non-refundable to the manufacturers, it would be credited annually. The Consumer Welfare Fund, it was created in the year 1992 to provide a financial assistance to promote and protect the welfare of the customer. So, to create consumer awareness and strengthen the voluntary consumer movement in the country, particularly in rural areas. So, the Department of Consumer Affairs, it operates the fund that is set up by Department of Revenue under the Central Excise and Salt Act 1944. So under this rules, since it was revised in 2014, any agencies or any organization that is engaged in consumer welfare activities for at least 5 years and registered under the Companies Act, Societies Registration Act, Cooperative Societies Act, or any other law that for the time being in force, they are eligible for financial assistance from this fund. Consumer Protection Act 1986. So the Consumer Protection Bill 1986, it seeks to provide for better protection of interest of consumers and for the purpose to make the provision for the establishment of consumer councils and other authorities for the settlement of consumer disputes and for a matter that is connected therewith. So this act, it provided the legislative framework to better protect the interest of the consumer by creating a formal but a quasi-judicial dispute resolution mechanism exclusively for consumers. So this progressive legislation established the three-tier quasi-judicial consumer dispute redress machinery at the national, state and at the district levels. So this is aimed at providing a simple, speedy and affordable redress to the consumers. Bureau of Indian Standards, in short it is called as BIS. So BIS, it is a national standard body of India that is established under BIS Act 2016 for the harmonious development of the activities of standardization, marking and quality certification of goods and for the matters that is connected therewith or incidental thereto. So a new BIS Act 2016, it came into force from 2017. So this act establishes the BIS as the national standard body of India. So BIS is National Standard Body of India. So it has enabling provisions for the government to bring under compulsory certification regime. Compulsory certification regime. For any goods or article of any scheduled industries, processes or system or services which it considers necessary in the public interest or for the protection of humans, animals or plants' health, the safety of the environment or for the prevention of unfair trade practices or national security. So enabling provisions, it have been made for making hallmarking of the precious metal articles mandatory. So this new act, it also allows a multiple types of simplified conformity assessment schemes. So this act, it enables the central government to appoint any authority or agency in addition to this BIS to verify the conformity of products, to verify the conformity of services to a standard, and to issue a certificate of conformity. So this BIS, it was set up as a statutory organization taking over the assets and liabilities of Indian Standard Institution, that is ISI, that came into existence in 1947. The headquarters of BIS, that is the Bureau of Indian Standards, is located in New Delhi. National Consumer Helpline, NCH. So it is a project that operates under the Center for Consumer Studies at Indian Institute of Public Administration. So this was set up in the year 2004 and has customized software that is server based for receiving calls and answering through one PRI line. So it is a core of consumer grievance redressal mechanism. So it has partnered with 373 companies that respond online to resolve complaints. So this is called a convergence mechanism. It also pursues the complaints with convergence companies and takes the feedback from the complaints that does reach and analysis of the complaint. So you can see these are the toll-free number. This is the number which we can SMS for a consumer helpline. And there is even a mobile app or website to contact the National Consumer Helpline. Consumer Disputes Redressal Mechanism. So under Consumer Protection Act 1986, under the Consumer Protection Act 1986, a three-tiered quasi-judicial mechanism has been set up in the country to adjudicate complaints filed before them and to provide a speedy redressal to consumers. So the National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, which is called a national commission at the apex level with territorial jurisdiction over the whole country and pecuniary jurisdiction to consider consumer disputes or complaints that involves claims above 100 crore rupees and with appellate jurisdiction over state or over commissions. The State Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, that is a state commission with territorial jurisdiction over the state or union territories, that is concerned and financial jurisdiction to entertain consumer complaints involving a claims above 20 lakh and up to 1 crore and with the appellate jurisdiction over the district. The District Consumer Disputes Redressal Forum, so which is a district forum with territorial jurisdiction over the district and pecuniary jurisdictions. So it takes the complaints up to 20 lakhs. The National Commission, it files a complaint from above 1 crore rupees. The State Commission, it files a complaint above 20 lakhs and below 1 crore. And the District Forum, it files a complaint up to 20 lakhs. National Test House. So it is a premier test and quality evaluation laboratory for industrial, engineering and consumer products under the administrative control of the Government of India since 1912. So it was established originally by Indian Railways Board as a captive test and quality evaluation laboratory at Alipur, Kolkata. So this is to examine the quality of various products that is meant to be used by Indian Railways. The first regional laboratory, it was set up by the National Test House in Mumbai in the year 1963 and subsequently at Chennai in 1975, Ghaziabad 1977, Jaipur 1994, Guwahati in 1996, and so on. So to be precise about this NTH, that is the National Test House, it issues a test certificates in scientific and engineering fields to certify or to give a confirmation to national or international specification or to customers about the standard specification of a particular product. Price monitoring. So the DCA, that is the Department of Consumer Affairs, it operates a price monitoring cell that is tasked with monitoring prices of selected essential commodities. So the monitoring, it is done in respect of both retail as well as the wholesale prices. The monitoring, it is done every day. Food and public distribution. The primary objective of the Department of Food and Public Distribution is to ensure food security for the country through efficient procurement of minimum support price, storage and distribution of food grains, ensuring the availability of food grains, sugars, and edible oil through appropriate policy instruments, including the maintenance of buffer stock. It should also include maintenance of buffer stocks of food grains, making food grains accessible to reasonable prices, especially to weaker and vulnerable sections of the society under a targeted public distribution system. Procurement of food grains. Food Corporation of India. So with the help of state government agencies, it procures wheat, paddy and coarse grains in various states to provide a price support to the farmers. So before each rabi or kharif crop season, the central government, it announces a minimum support price that is based on the recommendation of Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices, CACP. That is for the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. So this takes into consideration the cost of various agricultural inputs and a reasonable margin for the farmers for their produce. So apart from FCI, the state governments, they are also encouraged to adopt a decentralized procurement system of procurement to maximize the procurement reduction, to reduce a transportation and increase the reach of MSV operations. Stock and central pool. This is called a buffer norms. Food grain stocking norms. This were laid down to meet the prescribed minimum stocking norms for food security to ensure a monthly releases of food grains of the targeted public distribution system or other welfare schemes to meet emergencies arising out of unexpected crop failure, natural disasters, festivals, and so on. And also to use the food grain stock in central pool for market intervention to augment supply to help moderate the open market prices. National food security. So this is to strengthen the commitment to the food security of the people. So the government of India, it has enacted a National Food Security Act 2013, which came into force from 2013, and this act, it aims to provide for food and nutritional security in human life cycle approach by ensuring access to adequate quantity and quality of food at affordable prices to the people, for the people to live with dignity. So this act, it marks a paradigm shift in approach to food security from welfare to rights based one. So this act, it provides for the coverage of up to 75% of rural population and up to 50% of urban population for receiving subsidized food grains under a targeted public distribution system. So this covers about 2/3 of the population. And this coverage for receiving highly subsidized food grains is under two categories. One is for household coverage and the other is for Antyodaya Anna Yojana, and the remaining households as priority households. So other welfare schemes are also there, like midday meal scheme, wheat based nutrition program, scheme for adults and girls, a supply of food grains to welfare institutions, supply of food grains for SC, ST and OBC hostels, and the schemes like Annapurna scheme. So this scheme, it is implemented by the Ministry of Rural Development. Indigenous senior citizen of 65 years of age and above. Those who are 65 years and above and who are not getting pension under National Old Age Pension Scheme. So they are provided with 10 kgs of food grains per person per month at the free of cost under Annapurna scheme. So this food grains, they are provided by the Department of Food and Public Distribution under the scheme at BPL prices. Next is a open market sale scheme. Open market sale scheme. So in addition to maintaining buffer stocks and for meeting the requirement of the targeted public distribution system and other welfare schemes, the Food Council of India, FCI, it sells excess stocks of wheats and rice from the central pool at a predetermined price in the open market. They sell the buffer stocks in the open market from time to time under open market sales scheme through e-tender to enhance the supply, especially during the lean season, especially in the deficit regions. Next is storage of food grains. So capacity of FCI and state agencies. So FCI, it has its grid of covered godowns in all the states to safely stock the central pool food grains. Beside, it hires a capacity of Central Warehousing Corporation and state agencies like State Warehousing Corporation as well as private parties also. The augmentation of storage capacity. To cope with increasing production and procurement of food grains, the department is implementing a private entrepreneurs guarantee PEG scheme for augmenting the covered storage capacity in the country. So under this PEG scheme, which was launched in 2008, godowns are constructed in PPP mode and the land and the construction cost is borne by the selected partners. Location for the construction of godown are identified by the FCI based on recommendation of state level committees to cover the gaps in storage. So talking about this Central Warehousing Corporation, it is a public sector undertaking that is set up in the year 1957 under this department. So this department to provide a scientific storage facilities for agricultural products, for agricultural producers, implements and other notified commodities. CWC, that is the Central Warehousing Corporation, it has also 100% owned subsidiary company, namely Central Railside Warehouse Company Limited, for the development of railside warehouse complexes. Post-harvest management of food grains. Quality standard for the food grains. The government exercises due to control over the quality of food grains that is procured for the central pool. The quality control cells of the ministry at New Delhi and the field offices at 10 states, it monitors the quality of food grains produced, stored and that is issued for the distribution by FCI and the state governments and their agencies. Indian Grain Storage Management and Research Institute, IGMRI. This IGMRI, Hapur, and its field stations at Ludhiana, Punjab, which is in Punjab, and Hyderabad, Telangana. They are engaged in training and applied research and development work that is related to grain storage management. Central Grain Analysis Laboratory, CGAL. The CGAL, which is located in New Delhi, it assists the department in monitoring the quality of food grains at the time of procurement, storage and distribution by analyzing the samples that is collected by quality control officers. Export and import of food grains. So export policy of rice and wheat. So the government, it has allowed free export of non-basmati rice by private parties from privately held stocks from 2011. State trading enterprises including NCCF and NAFED, they are also permitted to export privately held stocks on non-basmati rice. The export of wheat was also allowed from the same year, and export of non-basmati rice and wheat is permitted through custom EDI ports. Export is also permitted through the non-EDI land custom stations on Indo-Bangladesh and Indo-Nepal border, which is subject to registration of quantity with DGFT. So talking about sugar, the sugar industry is an important agro-based industry that impacts the rural livelihood of about 50 million sugarcane farmers and their families, around 5 lakh workers directly employed in sugar mills. So India is the second largest producer of sugar in the world after Brazil. So Brazil is in first position and India is in the second position. SAARC Food Bank. So in pursuance of the decision taken by 14th SAARC Summit, which is held in New Delhi in 2007, in the year 2007, a SAARC Summit was held. That was the 14th SAARC Summit, and the heads of the states of South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation, that is the SAARC countries, they signed the agreement to establish the SAARC Food Bank. So as per this agreement, SAARC Food Bank is to have a reserve of food grains, and that is to be maintained by each member states, consisting of either wheat or rice or a combination of both. Anything can be stored in SAARC Food Bank of both as an assessed share of the country. Food and Agricultural Organization and Committee on World Food Security. So Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, it is one of the largest specialized agencies in UN system that is founded in the year 1945 with the mandate to raise levels of nutrition and standard of living by improving agricultural productivity and living conditions of the rural population. So India is a member of both FAO and CFS. CFS is nothing but Committee on World Food Security. So this Committee on World Food Security, it serves as a forum in United Nations systems for review and follow-up of policies that is concerning with World Food Security. International Grains Council, IGC. India is a member of IGC, which is an intergovernmental forum of exporting and importing countries for cooperation in wheat and coarse grain matters, which was previously known as International Wheat Council up to 1955. So it administers the Grains Trade Convention 1955. The IGC Secretariat, which is based in London since 1949. So it also serves the Food Aid Committee that is established under a Food Aid Convention. Next is Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana. So PMKSY. In short, it is called as PMKSY. So it is a comprehensive package resulting in creation of modern infrastructure with efficient supply chain management from farm gate to retail outlet. So it has not only provided a big boost to the growth of food processing sector in the country, but it also helps in providing better returns to the farmer, and it is a big step towards doubling farmers' income by creating a huge employment opportunities. And apart from this, mega food park scheme was also being done. So it is implemented in 2008, and it aims to create a modern food processing infrastructure for the processing units, which is based on a cluster approach and a hub and spoke model in a demand driven manner. So this is all about a food, civil supplies and consumer affairs. So see you all in the next session with some other interesting topic. Thank you.